Ain't nobody fresh as me. I'm just so fresh and so clean. Ain't absolutely. Can we add that in post? I don't know. Will we get flagged for that? I don't know. But anyway, no.
I have no idea.
I like to put together some threads. I like to put, show myself, presentable. I'm not the most fashionable guy there is, but the colors match. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a child of the 80s when all of our colors matched. I don't know these newfangled people now. Y'all just put pink and blue and red. Just like, what are you doing there? Is this Uncle Vashi talking? I guess it's Uncle Vashi talking. But clothes. They say clothes make the man or make the woman. You know what I'm saying? How important is wardrobe to you?
Wardrobe is everything. I feel like as a woman, it makes me confident. Like if I'm wearing something cute, I am confident. And like if someone compliments me on my outfit for the day, then that just really boosts my ego and it makes me feel good. So if my clothes look good, if my hair looks good, if my makeup looks good, my shoes, everything flows, I am a confident woman. That's who you see walking is a confident woman. It's one that's well dressed.
And women love a man that dresses well. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Even when you're dressing down, look like something, You don't have to be a big fashionista or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Wearing the most designer stuff, or whatever have you, because a good thrift store, would do you well.
Listen, and every girl is different. Some girls love the men in like sweatpants, and some girls love like a nice casual look or some.
I wonder why.
Like I don't know, but for me personally, because I'm not going there. Me personally, I love a suit. Like I love to see men in suits. Like it's so, and I like me. Like we want to get real detailed. Navy blue suits and the brown shoes really do it for me. I don't know what it is. It's just like
she's particular.
If it's fitted, I'm particular. Like if it's fitted, a nice fitted suit, like I love it. Like I follow. This is getting too much to my life. I actually like follow a lot of Black owned brands, and I follow a Black owned brand that makes their own suits. I follow like several of them actually. There's like 3 pages, and obviously I'm not wearing suits, but I follow anyway because I really like to see a well-dressed man in a suit. Like I don't know, I love it. I just love it. It's just so polished. It's something about Black men in suits, just a polished look. I love it. Every time.
Yeah. And we've done it again, folks. We've started talking and didn't even welcome you into this podcast. So welcome to RDU Black Podcast. I am DeVashi.
And I am his wonderful co-host, Aisha.
And thank y'all again. So yeah, today's episode is all about clothing. I got to a point because as a graphic designer, I was like, I never could find what I was looking for. So I would be like searching for because I like to dress down, but it's like sometimes I want just maybe a nice graphic tee or something like that. And so it was probably like in 2018-esque that I told myself that I'm just going to make my own clothing. I'm just going to design my own things and just whatever have you. And then people started looking at it and it's like, oh, I like that. Where can I get it? I said, well, I designed it. Well, can I get it? I'm like, well, I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just trying to make it for me. And so it was, I don't have the patience like for people. If I'm a graphic designer and people are like, well, can you design t-shirts? Any of my friends will tell you, I hate designing t-shirts. I don't know why. They're easy. I understand. But for me and my household, it's a no for me.
Is it because people are so picky? Like, why is it a no?
It's well, because most of the time people don't. There's like, okay, I have this saying, so let's use let's say rock the boat, right? Say for instance, that's what you want. You want rock the boat on your t-shirt. You can design that in so many different ways, and it's like they can't really tell you what they want, but they can tell you what they don't want. And sometimes when you're working on a flyer, I can kind of just go off just on basic flyer design. But a lot of times, t-shirt designs are like mini logos, and it's like you have to spend more time to say, okay, what can I do to make this look a little bit differently than what's already out there? I don't have that patience, so it's a no for me.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, and everybody loves a good, like once you have a good t-shirt design, everybody loves that. Like I'm personally a fan of like t-shirts and hoodies with just the words on it. So if it has words on it, like a simple sentence, I have a friend that just launched a company, the Slim Creative, and his hoodie say "My blackness is my brand," something along that sorts. And I love it. You know, I've seen like the God is Dope t-shirts; those are pretty popular as well. So I don't know. I really like, or a Bible verse. I've seen a lot of shirts that just has like a Bible verse on it, and those are like my like go to if I'm gonna wear like a t-shirt. I just really want a single like phrase on it.
Yeah, and I like a good religious T-shirt every once in a while, but I would rather it be inspirational because I'm not one to want to like wear that want to have a shirt that says John 3:16. You know, I don't. You know, I just don't need that in my life. So I like people who make stuff that I can wear pretty much anywhere. You know, that may have a little spin on it. I have a friend of mine that does that. God as a plug. I'm pretty sure, Artie, you've heard of that. And that's kind of that's my Jewish. That's my. I like that type of if the typography is good or if the colors are good.
Yes.
I'm all in. I'm all in. So
Yes.
yeah, for that person or persons that asked me a few years ago, can I get the shirt that you made? The answer is no, but I can direct you to some people that do it for a living because I am not he. Guys, today is all about apparel, about clothing, and we're hoping that you hear something today. Either it's gonna either inspire you for all our t-shirt designers out there because Black people love a good t-shirt design. That's the easiest company to start. It seemed 2020 was the year of the t-shirt company. Yes. So, all props to y'all guys. This episode is for you.
Yes. We're looking forward to getting into it. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, this is DeVashi of RDU Black Podcast. Make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us under the handle at RDU Black Podcast. That's RDUBLK Podcast. We post regularly, so make sure you stay connected. So guys, we have tried to record this episode almost 3 or 4 times now. And I am so excited that we are finally able to bring on this next young lady.
The third time's the charm.
She is a definite friend, colleague, confidant, and just all around good person. I can't wait for y'all to listen and learn who this young lady is.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Nirrasha Williams. Nirrasha is the CEO and founder of the Ambition Life Company and also the Creative Agency LLC. Since 2013, she has been a leader in creative branding through graphics, logo design, advertising, and photography. Her company, Ambition Life Company, is a premier apparel company known very well in Raleigh-Durham area. Her apparel lines, God is the Plug and Hope Dealer, have completely blown up and garnished national attention. Continually putting out quality products, Nirrasha and her businesses live under the mantra, get it, live it. She has positioned herself as the go-to for all your digital, design, and apparel needs. Nirrasha is not only the boss in business, but she is also the boss in life. She's recently engaged to her new, now fiance, and will be married before the end of 2021. We here at RDU Black Podcast would like to introduce our audience to Nirrasha Williams. Welcome, Nirrasha.
Hello. How are you all?
Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing today?
Good. Tired, but good.
we listen. We know about the hustle, but we are so excited that you decided to join us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on. I'm excited what you all are doing. And it's just an exciting, time to be with people that that are doing good things.
Absolutely. See, here we go. We said we were going to stop saying that. If y'all have been listening for a while, we cannot get away with saying the word absolutely. So for all of our drinkers out there, every time you hear the word absolutely, going to take a shot.
Take a shot.
All right, Nirrasha, we're just gonna jump right in. And I want you to just kind of just take a moment and tell us who is Nirrasha, and just kind of like tell us about your journey as being a serial entrepreneur.
Wow. Who is Nirrasha? I am originally from Washington, D.C. I came down to school to North Carolina Central University, Eagle Pride, Amplified. And so I went to school. Actually, I went to school for sports management. I wanted to be a football coach, actually,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
actually on the track to do so. Long story short, I always knew I was a creative. I just didn't think from the digital perspective. I like computers, but not necessarily designing or anything like that. However, I always knew that I wanted a clothing line. Again, never thought it would intertwine the way that it's doing now. And then I just started, I saw a need at one of our churches, and I began doing the graphic design with help from different people, just kind of guidance here and there. And then from there, it just kind of took off. Then it began to go into the whole clothing line thing, and then it just continued to just kind of just do it. And I just believe in one, of course, my tagline is "Get It, Live It," but I definitely believe in starting your own thing, doing your own thing, and making your own money, as well as working a full-time job. Because just because you're full-time doesn't mean you can't be an entrepreneur. So that's my thought on that. And yeah, so here we are today, still pushing, still doing everything that I desire to do, design wise, clothing wise, and it's only up from here. So I'm excited about that.
Yes. I
That
love
is
it.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, you are definitely someone that I have watched grow over the years, like from your small beginnings to where you are now is just amazing. And I think that you are a testament of really finding that niche and working that niche. So it's like you figured out, I know exactly what it is that I'm trying to do.
Mhm.
Um, I know you are a graphic designer as well, but you kind of figured out that, like you said, you wanted to have your own clothing line.
Mhm.
So, what would you say was the motivator behind you choosing your business niche?
I would say one, fashion, and I would also put it back on where I'm from, my hometown. So if anybody knows Washington D.C., we're known for colors. We're known for bright colors. We're known for go-go and mumbo sauce, right? And so,
Yes.
and so with that though, I always liked like bright shoes. I like bright clothing. I mean, I just kind of wanted to wear my own stuff because a lot of times we tend to wear things that we don't know really what it means. We don't know who it's by. We have designers out here now who sell their clothing at a certain price, and people eat it up. And the reality is, they don't want our kind wearing their products. And so, I think from there it continued to build that. And I knew I had an eye for apparel design, to really move people based upon like the coloring and the concepts of it. So that kind of kept me going, and I think also helped me stand out from other people as well.
You're actually talking a lot about that DC area. Anybody who knows that DC area, y'all just like bright stuff. It could be, I mean, the most loudest things. I lived in DC for like a year,
Mhm.
and I didn't get it. I did not get it, and it's like y'all have your own style,
Yeah.
and like there are like certain types of jeans that you only can get in the DC area. They just fit differently.
Mhm.
I'm like, what store are you buying? Because it's like you can't really find that type of a style anywhere except for that
Mhm.
area.
Yeah.
So it's like the uniqueness of that area, and
Mhm.
I'm glad that you kind of brought a little bit of that uniqueness down here.
Yes, definite. Look, some people, I remember when I was at Central, people would ask, they would say automatically like, "Oh, I know where you're from," and I'm like, "How?" They're like, "Because you have a New Balance." Or a New Balance is definitely a trademark of Washington D.C. So, yeah, so people would always say that, and it's just something about I think the part of the brightness also is almost like your individuality a little bit as well, and so it just kind of sets us apart. So that's pretty cool for me.
I love that. So you kind of mentioned a little bit when it comes to your journey of becoming a serial entrepreneur, you mentioned that, you know, you could be working full time, have a full-time job, and also find different ways to explore your interests, like whatever you're interested in, and whether it's the creative space, maybe you're working on an actual product, maybe you're designing clothes, maybe you're designing labels, right? Maybe like you love lotions and makeup and natural shampoo, like whatever it might be. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of how you manage everything you juggle? Like I feel like as a millennial, sometimes we struggle with just being able to balance things.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like, okay, I'm stretched, but what are ways that I can give, you know, a little bit of myself to kind of like everything that I'm interested in, because I do feel like if I don't explore different things, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to kind of be sitting where you are right now, where you like absolutely know what you want to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that I've kind of struggled with, you know, just kind of being in your 20 somethings, trying to figure out what is my niche and what am I really, I feel like I'm good at lots of different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like I'd be more successful if I kind of like narrow some of that those energy and efforts and kind of like into one thing.
Gotcha.
And this one thing is where I like pour my efforts into, and I pour my money into, and I pour my time into, and I get better at that.
Mm-hmm.
I become a master at that instead of like, okay, well, I'm mediocre in all of these different elements, like the bare minimum in all of these other efforts. But there, you know, there does come a time where we kind of want to be at a peak, and it's like, okay, well, this is my lane, and this is what I do well, and this is what I feel like I'm an expert in.
I would definitely say as many hours, and I know a lot of people say it, but as many hours as you put in for your full time job, whatever that may be, sometimes you might have to put in just the same amount of hours, maybe not the same amount of days, but definitely the same amount of hours. So there will be days that I would get off of work at 5:30, come home and do whatever I needed to do for home, and then go straight into whether it was designing, whether it was all of the clients that I had lined up and I had deadlines to meet. And sometimes I wouldn't go to sleep until sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. However, though, it does catch up with you. And so I would definitely say to find that schedule. It doesn't have to be a set schedule, but find a schedule just as long as you're remembering, almost to give yourself the tithe. We talk a lot about tithing monetarily, you know, in the principle in the Bible of tithing and everything like that. But I also believe that we have to tithe within and to ourselves with our time, so that way we can put in the efforts to figure out what it is that we're good at while still maintaining our full-time jobs, our church responsibilities, our life responsibilities, and all that stuff like that. I think you just have to figure out how many hours are you willing to dedicate a day or a week, rather, and to do this and to figure this particular thing out. And I think once you do that, it'll kind of get you on a cycle to figure out what it is that you like to do, to try and, try again. There are a lot of things that I like doing. There are a lot of things that I can do. However, my question to myself is always, how long would it last? And so while some things, like, so for an example, I'll be putting out another part of a line at the end of the year. And so my question is it going to last long? And if it doesn't matter, because the line itself is still prospering, it's still going. So I think we have to just kind of figure out those areas and how much time we're willing to put in it to figure out if it works for us.
I agree with that. I actually heard a pastor say online, I think I was just watching Instagram. I was just like on my timeline one day and I saw a pastor and he said, you should have a no in your spirit. Like
Mhm.
a lot of people say yes, like you have a yes here. You should also have a no. And like, it should be like a strong no, not like a weak no. Like, no, I'm not
Absolutely.
going to do that. No, I like, and it's really a way to kind of like protect yourself. So I love that you said that, kind of like investing into yourself and like you tithe within yourself. And I think that's important so that you can explore interests, but also you have to know what what to say yes to. And that's something that, I've been praying for specifically, but what to say yes to, what to say no to. And just kind of, that spiritual wisdom is a beautiful thing to have, because you said you will run yourself into the ground. Other people will run you into the ground.
Right.
You got to say no, and a strong no.
A strong no.
Strong.
And sometimes it's not easy. And I think you just said that too. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. And so I would take the necessary rather than it not being easy, because necessary, something else has to be done before this. So no, it was hard at first. Listen, but I say no. No, I'm not gonna be able to do that. No, I'm sorry.
Listen, so that 2-letter word has some power to it.
Powerful.
Listen, it has power, because once you realize that no is an option, because for some people it's not an option, but once you have settled in your spirit, in your spirituals,
absolutely,
you realize that no has power.
That no has power,
and you have to be confident and also have the reason behind the no, right? Yep. We have to, because a lot of times some people just say no, and that's just my answer. That's just what it is, whatever have you. But once people understand the reason for the no, so it's like, I'll use for an example. You have people who always want the hookup for, we're creative. So even in that creative space, or even just being an entrepreneur, people are like, well, can you do that? And literally, I will say, no, I can't do that.
I'm not going to be able to. No.
Or can you lower the price? Absolutely not. My price is my price.
Right. No.
Trust me, you're going to.
You're like, nah, she sound like she got real good at that now.
No, right, no.
Guess what? The other answer is no too. But but it's good, because once we kind of get around to why I'm saying yes, I think it's even the more important.
No, I was just saying I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, because once we get around to the yes, it's even more impactful, because we've gone through the process of kind of like weighing out any of the extraness out of the situation, whether it be relationship, whether it be emotions, whether it be friendship for some people, what I'm saying? So it's like, once we kind of get past that and we start respecting each other on a businessman to a businesswoman, or a businesswoman to a businessman, and vice versa, and all the other shades of people, once we get past that, I think the respect level increases. Yeah. And that's really important in business. At the end of the day, is that we respect each other. You respect me for the service and the amount of, or I'm bringing to the surface. You're respecting that amount of time that it took me to get here, time that it took me to be able to really formulate what it is that I call my business. Whether it's schooling, whether it's education, whether it's just life experience, that's what you're praying for. That's what you're getting from me. And if my no is a no, it comes with all of that as its foundation. Sure. So when that yes makes it even that more impactful.
I believe no creates boundaries. And a lot of times the reason that it doesn't work is because people don't understand boundaries. So our no's have to be boundaries.
They do. I agree 100%.
Quotable.
Listen here. So I'm going to do a quick deep dive. So my sister Aisha loves to do a deep dive into someone's Instagram. So I went back. So we're going to go back to April 24th, 2012. It's still on your Instagram in 2021.
Oh, Lord.
You posted on your Instagram the picture of a tattoo of the word ambition.
Oh, yes.
And this was even before you had even told anybody about the name of your company. It was actually some months later before you actually made your first post. Can you talk about that word ambition and its meaning to you, and what made you get that tattoo?
Well, one, I got the tattoo. I was kind of mad at something. And I was like, I'm gonna go get a tattoo, and it just so happened that I was like, let me just do ambition, because when I look at this tattoo, a lot of times people tend to think of ambition in a negative, or they don't want someone to say like, oh, you're overly ambitious, or they use it in such a way that it distracts a person. And my desire is not to allow that to be the thing. I want, whenever I look at my tattoo, I'm reminded to strive harder. I'm reminded to go get it. I'm reminded to literally live it and do it, because a lot of times it's not that I'm trying to quit. It's just in some moments it becomes like, I don't know if I really want to do it, or I'm gonna take a pause. And sometimes taking a pause is not necessary. And so when I look at my tattoo and I look at what I'm reminded of, it continuously reminds me of not to quit, to keep going, to get it, to live it, and to make it happen, because somebody else is watching, someone else needs it. And so I use it for the positive factor and not the negative.
I know some of the saints went to town when you posted that post of your tattoo. You done scarred your body.
Listen,
you done defiled the temple.
Listen, I got a whole arm.
Yeah, let me take a picture of that. Okay. A few months later, August 16th, 2012, you make your very first post announcing that you have your very first t-shirt, Work Like a Boss. And it was kind of like the launch of your company, Ambition Life Company. Can you let us know what kind of made that decision to kind of put it out there to the world?
So I think I don't know if I talked about this before, but I had a clothing line before. It was called Royal Faith. I remember now. It was called Royal Faith. And I did like a few things with it, not too much of anything. I was like, oh, this is not going to work. And I kind of let it go. Well, a little while after that, I knew that I wanted to do the line. And I was literally sitting down one day, and I think that might have been the first post that I put on there from that. But it was right around the time that Obama was coming into office. I remember sitting, it was like, I want to say maybe December timeframe. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. I didn't tell anybody. I just did it because sometimes when you tell too many people, they have too many questions. And not that the questions are invalid, it just causes you to pause even longer to think on those things that they're talking about. And my thing is, if I knew if I took a pause at that very moment, there possibly would not be an Ambition Life Company right now. And so I just did it. And then once I did it, I let everybody know. I was like, hey, so, yep, I released my clothing line. Like, I just did it. Like Nike, I just do it. So I just didn't want that and not that the questions or the things that people had to say would have been negative, or it wouldn't have made a bigger difference or a better difference. However, though, I knew for me, if I paused at that moment, it wouldn't have happened. And I think sometimes we don't consider those things when we're launching out. We want to know everybody's opinion before we do it. And that's good to a degree. But if you know in your spirit and you feel it within yourself that this is what you're supposed to be doing, then do that. And what the worst thing could happen is what? Nobody purchased, and I can just kind of delete the website.
Right.
That's the worst that could happen. So launch out and just do it.
You just hit the nail on the head, and it's doubt. It's doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you allow other people's like outward opinions and influence, kind of, you put it in your space, you're talking to them about the idea, and someone's just like, well, that doesn't make sense. That's not smart. Look at them. They don't do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It is doubt that clouds your judgment on whether you should move forward or not. And then you become heavy with a whole bunch of things. And I've heard you say it, I've heard Pastor Todd say it as well, but you have to run your race and run it with endurance. And it came from the Bible. They said it, y'all said it, but it came from the Bible.
Right.
You have to run the last time we spoke, you said to run with the vision, and you have to run it with endurance without stopping, and you cannot be clouded with judgment because it's heavy weight on you and it's holding
Mhm.
you down and allows you to not be able to move forward with everything that you do.
For sure.
It's really between you and God. I mean, that's who, helps you make that decision. You make that decision internally and you run with it. And I don't think
Mhm.
you have to wait for validation. I don't think you have to wait until somebody else does it on Instagram. I don't think you have to wait until you have $1 million in your bank account. I don't think you have to wait until somebody gives you, hey, thumbs up, go ahead and do it. All your friends don't have to agree. It's
Yep.
honestly like if you have the vision and you want to do it, go for it.
I definitely agree with that. I think ultimately it causes us to invalidate God's word to us when we listen to other people. And we call it, whether it's doubt, whether it's people, whether it's their questions, whether it's our confidence or whatever the case is. If God initially told us to do it,
Mm.
then why not? And when we go and talk to other people to get reassurance, we're then saying that I almost don't fully believe all of what you're saying, God. So I'm gonna go get some more help over here real quick. And not to say that you don't go and seek out counsel and things of that sort. But if God says go, you gotta go because you don't know what's up ahead or you don't know what's behind you.
Sometimes
So
you just kind of have to do it blindly.
yeah,
It's
do it.
not even it sometimes you just kind of you see something and you don't know how it's going to turn out. I think that's the biggest thing with entrepreneurship. You don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
You can be the most well-intentioned person,
Mm-hmm.
cross cross every T and dot every I, and done all your homework or whatever have you, and you've done all your metrics and your planning and all of this, and then you launch it and nobody shows up,
Mm-hmm.
nobody logs in,
Mhm.
nobody purchases.
Right.
It's like you just got to keep pushing, and unfortunately, fear has to take the back seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fear is definitely, and I think I don't know if I said to you all before, but like fear, I was never afraid to do it. I was more so afraid of succeeding versus
Yeah. Wow.
I know.
Expound on that.
I know what failure looks like. I know what failure feels like. I've seen a lot of people around me fail, but it's very seldom sometimes that you see people hand in hand, like people that you know for sure, and you like really cool with them, and you've seen their process to know what it's like to fully succeed. And when I say succeed, I mean like in the wealthy place, not just succeeding daily, because I believe success is daily. Whatever you didn't do yesterday and you set in your mind to do today, you conquer that thing, then that's a part of success. But I'm talking about from the standpoint of the wealth that's attached to success. I never seen that, and so I was afraid because I'm like, well, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know, like, what am I going to do when all of these sales and all of this money start coming in? And so for a minute, it kept me stuck. Not because I was going to fail. I knew I have confidence in myself. I have confidence in my brand. I have confidence, most importantly, in God. And so with that, I know what that looks like, but I didn't know what fully succeeding in the wealth looked like. So that kept me for a long time. Oh, but now
Huh?
that's not even the case.
Oh, but now.
Oh,
Oh,
but
but
Oh,
now.
but now.
listen.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I know what failure looks like. I know what it feels like that I was afraid to succeed. Wow. And a lot of people don't talk about that.
Yeah,
That
they were.
that's the other side of the coin that nobody talks about. Nobody wants to bring that up. And I think for me it's always been I didn't even think about the wealth side of it because
Mhm,
I know I want the money. Like
mhm,
but it's like, can you handle it? Can you handle the money? Can you handle the income? For me it is responsibility.
mhm,
You have this awesome business, and you have people that depend on you, and you have people that you support with this income from this business. What if you fail? You
mhm.
I'm responsible for so much, and so
Yeah.
for so many things for so many people. Can I handle it? Can I handle
Mhm,
being in the spotlight? Can I handle all eyes on me? um I think we've had some amazing entrepreneurs that we've been able to showcase on this podcast. And that what you just said is like the biggest thing that I've heard from all of them. And unfortunately, when you are in the spotlight, sometimes you fail, and you fail hard in front of people. And so you just like them are successful at what you do, but you fall and you fail in front of people, and it's a part of life, right? And it's a part of being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. But sometimes not in secrecy. Sometimes
Right.
people file bankrupt and not in secrecy, and
Mhm.
sometimes people walk away from their businesses, and because it just can't handle it anymore, and it's public because
Mhm.
you've done all this advertising and people are supporting you, and you just go ghost. But on the
For
same
sure.
side, you also succeed in public as well.
Mhm.
So I just think that it's I love hearing the vulnerability of what you've said and the transparency, because
Mhm.
I believe it's 100% true. And it's just a whole other side of entrepreneurship that people don't talk about.
Absolutely. I'm trying not to say absolutely, but absolutely.
Take a shot. um, you kind of mentioned a little bit about my next question I wanted to ask, and I kind of want to set it up just a little bit. You're talking about not really being ready for the success or even just the next level of responsibility. Because for some people, that next level of responsibility could be a new tax bracket.
Mhm.
For some people, it's like, okay, now I have to really learn how to file my own taxes and my own business taxes, setting up a business, setting up my own LLC, the EINs, the bank accounts, and learning the business side of running my business. That's not the glamorous part
That's not.
that you can be sued for, huh? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you ain't got your paperwork right, then what are you gonna do? I said, I've worked with you on a lot of different projects, and
Mhm.
sometimes they are redos and repairs
Mhm.
because someone else didn't know what they were doing. What do you think you could share to like current entrepreneurs and basically just current apparel entrepreneurs?
From the standpoint of making sure everything is in order.
Yeah, making sure everything is ordered and also running your business right.
Oh yeah, integrity is everything. I will say that a million times. I've allowed a few different people to like try to so that I'm not doing my own designing. Sometimes I'll allow other people to do some of my designs, and the two people that I did do use paid up front, everything like that failed. They didn't come through, and so I would definitely say one, make sure whoever is doing your designing, you trust that what they do for you is what they do for you, and it's not being duplicated anywhere else. Make sure again that your integrity is intact. Like it's a major plus. If you don't have integrity, you don't have anything else. Because if people can't trust what you do and trust what you put out, how are they going to trust you to spend their money, or for them to spend their money with you? So I would definitely say that. I would definitely say make sure even your paperwork, even your all of those type of things, those things, make sure they're tight and in place. It doesn't mean that you can't start, but just make sure what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because if not, you'll find yourself slowing down bit by bit, moment by moment, and you'll forget why you do it. And so I would also say that too. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. Remember why you're starting your apparel line. Are you starting it just for a moment to meet rent for the next month, or a bill or two? Because when you do that, you take the passion out of it. And so just make
Right.
sure that your passion aligns with why you're doing what you're doing, why it aligns with your why. And so a lot of people in multi-level marketing talk about what's your why. And so you got to ask yourself, even in apparel design, what's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it going to be long term or short term? Is it for a moment, or is it for a season? And so I think in those things, and being integral again, is that has the potential to set you up to be the best that you can be, because it allows people to see who you are and want to do business with you because of who you are, because of what you stand for, because of what you allow to happen and not to happen. So I would definitely say that, especially for those who are in apparel design.
What's the hardest part of being an apparel company? What would you say is the hardest part? That something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh man. The hardest part for me, I would say having an extra staff person early on, because there were times that, if orders would come through, it may have been like one or two, and I'm like, oh, I could do it in the next day or two. But what it began to do was cause me to be lazy, and not get their orders out like they should have, and then I would have to send an email, oh, I apologize for the delay, and da 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 da. When if I would have took on either an intern or even a staff member part time, it would have changed that, because I would have had someone totally designated to shipping, totally dedicated to packaging and things of that sort. And so I think we have to make sure that we're investing in ourselves and in our businesses, even in the parts of having other people or extra people to work with us. So that way we have a business that's more upfront than anything. And make sure you're utilizing ads. I don't do it right now, but I'm going to. So yeah, make sure you're doing that too. I didn't know that at first. Oh, but now I do.
Well, Nirrasha, I believe that people who are successful like you, who have an awesome story, who designed and created something just out of thin air, not out of thin air, but you were inspired by God to create the brand that you have today. Um, there has to be something that kind of that you use to pour into yourself, that makes you better, that improves you every day, that motivates you in your business. So I always like to ask this question because I want us to all be able to be self-educated, and they just continue educating ourselves, because you're never too old to stop learning. So
Mhm.
what kinds of books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to besides Are You Black?
Come on.
Shameless plug. What are you using to, even if it's music, I want to expand the question. So books, podcasts, music, articles, kind of what are you reading that you use to pour into yourself to continue to grow and be successful?
So right now, I will say I have put a pause on reading books. And this is not to sound ignorant or anything like that, but I'm a part of so Bank of America and what's the college? It's a Bank of America and another college that came together to create a forum or classes for women entrepreneurs, especially African American entrepreneurs. And so I've been doing those classes online. So I typically kind of focus on that. Podcast wise, I definitely listen to Dr. Anita Phillips, and Tabitha that does the cooking show. She's
Brown.
Tabitha Brown.
Yeah, she's such a relief. It's also kind of like away from everything. It's not really church. It's not really. It's just a relaxation kind of a thing. And Lettucey is one of my favorites. So I listen to. I have a record player now. So I have records, and so I listen to Lettucey a lot. And I like jazz, and so I'll do some of those things. I catch up on my shows because it helps me to declutter in certain areas. But I'm definitely I'm a YouTuber as well. So I'll YouTube certain things that I want to learn about, or that I want to know more about. Because sometimes it's easier to do hands-on than it is for you to just kind of read all of these manuals kind of a thing. So I do that and just kind of see what different people are doing. Her name is Kalila Wright. She has Mess in a Bottle, and she's one of the people that I follow. I'm low key like a mentee, and she doesn't fully know, but I follow her, and she has this thing like Tea Talk Tuesdays. So I'll do different things like that to try to see from what standpoint she's at and what she's talking about and how she's preparing, things like that. That also helps as well.
I love that. And I love how social media allows us to be able to reach so many different people. And the person that you listen to, for example, she could be all the way in California, you're in North Carolina, and you listen to her on a weekly basis. So I love that. And I'm a YouTuber as well. Like I love to get on YouTube, and I'll just as I'm doing my hair, as I'm cooking, just kind of listen to people, because I love hearing people's stories. And thank you especially for sharing your story here with us tonight on Are You Black?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So what's coming up new in your life and the life of your business?
We are preparing for our spring launch. to do the spring line. I'm finishing up a few designs to release, so we're getting ready to do a whole big old sale of the last bit of sweatshirts and hoodies that we have. We're doing a $25 off sale, or not $25 off, $25 hoodie and sweatshirt sale, just to get rid of that particular inventory, and then we're moving straight into the spring. And other than that, planning this wedding. So yeah.
Okay, this is the very last question. If you could, can you take a moment and just speak a word of encouragement to all of our listeners, current and future Black RDU entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. I would definitely say to each and every person who is an entrepreneur, you're desiring to be an entrepreneur. The first things first is you don't have to quit your full-time job. You don't have to stop doing what you're doing just to be an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur because you're doing something that you started on your own. And so I would definitely say that. I would say be encouraged even when it feels like it's not doing what you wanted to do, even when it's not taking off like you wanted to take off. Remember that to everything, there is a season. So understand your seasons and your time. Find someone to get up under, find somebody to look up to. And research and do it afraid, because if you don't do it now, somebody else will, and you'll regret it. And then you'll be like, oh, that was my idea. It was your idea, but you didn't move on it in enough time to make it happen. So I would definitely say that, and just continue to do whatever it is that's in your heart. Do it and find the reason and find your why of why you're doing it.
Thank you so much for that, because that was powerful. That was definitely powerful. Tell everybody how they can find you on the World Wide Web, your socials, website, all that.
Sure. My website is www.ambitionlifeco.com. I'm also on Instagram under I Ambition Life, as well as my own ambition. So I have a personal and business page on there. And then on Facebook, I'm under Nirrasha Williams. And then both my graphic design is the creative agency and Ambition Life Company on Facebook as well.
All right. Everybody, clap it up for Mrs. God is a Plug, Nirrasha Williams.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you, Nirrasha.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me.
Oh, note to self, take another shot, because you just said absolutely.